I'm Doug Atkinson here at Solutions Review, and I want to thank all of our panelists and speakers for participating in this quarterly mini jam. These events have been wildly successful for us, helping to drive over 700,000 subscribers to our YouTube channel in the first year alone. And of course, we are continuing to build the always-on community site at insidejam.com, where you can connect with experts like you'll see today, along with colleagues and peers, and continue the conversation around enterprise technology. If you haven't already joined insidejam.com, please do. And if you have, please invite a colleague to join as well. And again, thank you very much for being here and enjoy this event.
Solutions Review presents the Inside Jam Expert Keynote.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session. So this is an important topic for me, and I'm Judith O'Callaghan. I am the co-founder of Global ERP Advisory. So for me, I believe that soft skills in transformation is such an important thing, and it's not often talked about. And this is something in us, and this is all around us. And soft skills is something we need to bring back in fashion. So in my opinion, there are three things that are so important, and that is again an inherent ability in us that will help us set things up for success. So when we look at it, it's first listening. So we are taught to speak, and we are not taught to listen. So this is something that we are always taught as a child: speak your mind, speak what you say, and all that. And one thing that coexists with speaking is listening. So as we become adults, and this skill is not necessarily practiced because we are in roles that we are often asked to say something and be someone and, do our thing. So as a result, listening doesn't necessarily get sharpened. But if we choose to listen in situations, it helps us a lot. So there are three aspects to listening. First of all is listening to what is being said. So this is a simple one because we ask questions and we hear answers, and it's easy for us all to do. And we naturally do it. That's great. What is also equally important is what is not being said. And this is something that speaks volumes. So in many environments, as you know, people say what they want to say, or people like to say what they're being coached, or it could be somewhere between the thing. But what is not said is something very powerful. So it talks a lot about the environment people are in and what they have been coached or what they actually want to say. So that is all conveyed in what is not being said. So as we look back in transformations, in many of the aspects that we can all relate to, if we directly ask people, what is your problem? What you'll hear is what you'll hear, but what they are not saying is likely to be the real problem that needs to be solved. It gives us a lot more practical applications or practical aspects for us to be working with and enabling. So again, this information is really important for us. And when in my role, I naturally am drawn to listening. So I'm one of the listening types, and of late I've realized that what is not being said and what do they want to say, or what do the stakeholders actually want to say, is the one that is the game changer. Okay. The next ability that we all have in us is the ability to sense. So we all sense different things. When we grew up in nature, or our ancestors, when they were close to nature, they were able to sense the storms, they were able to sense the rain, and some of them were even able to sense the drought that's coming. So this is an ability that is in us. And as we grew as human beings, or as technology came along, this ability for us did not serve as much. So some of the skills did not sharpen in our mind. But again, this one is an inherent ability that if we focus on it, if we will bring that back. So ability to sense, again, talks about many different aspects. So sensing, again, it's not necessarily in conversation. It could be sensed without words. So I was reading a book on Atlantis, one of the greatest cities, which had a whole bunch of sophisticated stuff, but people were able to communicate without words. So what it meant was we as humans have the ability to sense what's going on around us, and we can communicate without words. It could be simple thing as sitting next to a person, or being totally present in a meeting, or being, keeping our eyes around us as we walk around the place or observe things. So sensing gives us so many aspects. So when we look at it, it's the external matters that influence the transformation. And this information most likely is not written anywhere. You're not going to find that in the program charter or in any of the documents, or you're not going to see them in the risk registers or anything like that. But the ability to sense will be able to figure those matters up. And they are the ones that will influence from an external perspective, that is something that is not in our radar, that will actually influence the transformation that is going on. So in one of the earliest transformation I was in, so there was a go live date that was fixed, and everything we were all working towards it. And one of our colleagues suddenly, had a moment of inspiration or moment of awakening, and he was able to sense something. So, and then we all worked together and asked around, paid more attention around what that matter was. And we were able to identify a very specific local fair or a local festival kind of thing that was overlapping with the go live. And again, no one wanted to talk about it because everyone had the big go live or the big mission in mind. But that external matter, it could be a simple fair, but that played a huge difference to the people who were working on it. So some of the distractions came from because people were distracted with the fair or many things like that. So a minor shift in go live on the go live date fixed a lot of things. So many environments are not in tune, or like in many environments, we won't be able to pick up the political aspects without the sensing abilities in us. Again, having said that, this will always come up in different things, but we may not be able to put our finger on anything and say, okay, this is the root cause, or this is the reason, or anything like that. So keep an eye out. So this political or non-political or any external aspects do have an ability in helping us with the journey of transformation success. So the one thing that we humans have not been great at providing information or providing the real attention to is the personal aspects. Most historians or anthropologists or people who study cultures believe this has been introduced during the Industrial Revolution, but who knows? This is what we deal with. We do not bring personal aspects to work. Oh, that is what we are taught. But do we actually do that? No, probably not. Personal aspects still play a huge role in what we do. So as we sit here, we are always thinking about, okay, is my child going to be great at show and tell today? What are the things that we need to do? Or it could be something much deeper than that. It could be that someone's having a sick person at home that they're looking after, or something else that is going on. But again, having that ability to sense and being in tune and sharpening our abilities around that soft skill area are the ones that are able to bring that aspect to the surface. And again, it brings these two aspects, that is listening and sensing, naturally develops the trust, and trust in what is being said, and trust in the communication, and trust in the person. All those things come from that. And the last aspect, which most of us know and we talk about in day-to-day life, is the communication. So, any change manager would have it as the first thing in the radar. So communicate like there is no tomorrow. So that's what I was taught when I first got into the transformation journey. So now let's dig deeper into it from the ability of soft skills and the ability of ability as a human for us to practice this communication. We communicate what is obvious many, many times. And that this is needed and this is great. Let's continue to do that. So continuing this ensures, we are stating the obvious, everybody's on the same page and everything is going great. The other two aspects that we also need to introduce to our communication, according to, in my belief, is that what do we want others to understand? We see things from our perspective and we see what we see, and we are taught to communicate what we see. It doesn't mean that the other person is able to understand it. And yes, there is a feedback loop and everything else. But if we take a step back and truly understand what we want the other person to understand, we will be communicating things completely from a different perspective. Let's say there is a mathematical genius who is trying to communicate an obvious problem. So instead of focusing on beautiful math equations or anything around it, if we talk about the problem, hey, this is the problem I'm trying to solve, and we communicate around it, it helps others to understand. So there are so many aspects that we can see from from transformation, right? So transformations normally, happen as a program, and there is multiple projects running at different times, and there is many things that overlap, and we all need to work on it. It's like a beautiful blanket coming together. Sometimes what we know, or many of us would have experienced it, is a lot of people want the same thing. So, for example, a specific date for some reason, for something, and there could be reasons beyond it. Like, for example, that is reasons that is beyond what is stated. So in these cases, if we take a step back and understand what is the bigger picture and what we want others to understand by doing something or by not doing something, then it gives us a very beautiful slate for us to work with. And the third one, the final one, this is my favorite. There are aspects in life that we want others to figure out for themselves, be it transformation colleagues or our stakeholders or senior stakeholders or the wider population. We do not want to be communicating everything. So the things that we want everyone to figure out for themselves, they are the gold. Because once those things are figured out, life changes in transformation. So this is where the real magic happens, when a lot of things are figured out and they become the obvious thing, and that becomes what is communicated. So here is where we can make a difference by paying attention back to the soft skills. These skills are in us. It's around us. Let's take a pause and let's encourage it. It's something very simple. It's listening, sensing, communication. Let's focus on them. Let's work on them. And let's apply to that in daily lives, not necessarily in transformation, but in our work and in our personal lives. We will see a lot of difference. One final thing, it's my favorite, and I would like to say that is, the elders know the road. So let's surround ourselves with advisors who have a collective interest in mind. It's the knowledge and the experience and the advice that is around us that makes this world keep going. So we have so much to capitalize, so much to learn, and so much to grow. Let's continue to work together and make this world a better place.
For video highlights, replays, and more, visit insightjam.com.